Are you struggling to advance your career and sacrificing time with your loved ones because of endless to-dos, low energy, and just not enough time in the day? If so, then this podcast is for you. I am your host, Dr. Tsung, an ER, critical care, and space doctor, a peak performance coach, real estate investor, and a mother of a toddler. I'm here to guide you on mastering your mind and give you the essential skills to achieve peak performance. So welcome to Productivity MD, where you can learn to master your time and achieve the 5 freedoms in life.
Hello, welcome to Productivity MD, and I am your show host, Dr. Tsung. Today, we're going to be talking about how to live and die without any regrets and how you spent your time, and specifically what I learned from Date with Destiny and how to really get rid of that pressure to optimize, the pressure to succeed, because a lot of times it's because of that external pressure, the hustle culture that you want to succeed, that we often sacrifice the time we want to spend with our loved ones, the time we want to spend for our health and vitality. And we're continuing on to live with regrets like, I wish I spent more time here. I wish I spent more time with my husband, my wife, my son, my grandkids, my parents. But because of that pressure to optimize, to succeed, we don't. We continue to hustle. So, the purpose of Productivity MD or the time freedom advisory that we do, again, is so that today, starting today, you can structure your life so that if you were not here tomorrow, you can say, I will have no regrets at how I spent my time. And a lot of us have something called towards and away values. So for example, one of my towards values, my primary question is always like, this is all stemming from Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny. We all have a primary question. And my old primary question I always go to is, how can I succeed? Everything that happens around me, I'm always thinking, how can I succeed? The later primary question I have now is, how can I make it better? Regardless of what it is, it's always pressure to optimize, pressure to make it better, pressure to succeed in my, whatever your rules are, right? Or my rules are. So as an example, success is one of my towards values. And because success is there, I used to sacrifice like the time that I would have with my kids, towards like 5 or 6 p.m. I used to sacrifice that time so that I can feel like professionally I can be successful. On the flip side, there's something called the away values. So those are the negative emotions that you experience that's really jeopardizing, your goals essentially, or just like the sense of peace and calmness, the presence, the flow. So for example, the feeling of not enough is pretty pervasive in the society. And I will say that the feeling of not enough exists in everyone, no matter what stage they're at. So it's actually pretty normal. Okay. You're not going to be able to get rid of it, but you will snap out of it and just understand that this is a normal human experience. And just in 1 second, snap out of it. All right. My newest away value, we always have rules, like these beliefs of what has to happen in order for us to experience this. My newest one, the top one, is overwhelm. And even though I've tried very hard, when you're a time creator, if you don't know the 5 stages of time freedom, just go to the episode before this. But as a time creator, it's detrimental because now you have free up the time, but because you have that pressure to optimize, you continuously say yes to more things with the time that you free up, because they all look like shiny objects. They all look like good opportunities. So you say yes, and you have so many open loops that are left unclosed because multiple steps come after that. You say one yes. And my top emotion, because, I used to be more of a time creator, it was overwhelm. And I would get overwhelmed whenever I see a gap or something not closed or one thing not done, even though 95% of it is done. So I would see the gap. I wouldn't see lack of progress or lack of completion. And it would send me to a sense of like a micro overwhelm. It's almost like there's so many things not done, and I wish that there was support. So because of that sense of overwhelm, I feel like I'm stagnated And because of that stagnation, there's a very small type, like a feeling of like not enough, like, why can't I just make progress on this? Why is it taking so long? Then there's a sense of feeling like let down, not supported, etc. Then it goes to anger, perhaps rage, that, I've done everything I could to make sure that this is done. But sometimes when you're working with teams or people or contractors, there's some things that are just like 5% left undone. And then so you could start victimizing yourself and blaming others. So those are all emotions that we want to stay away from as much as possible. You may have different away values or different emotions and roles, right? So a lot of us make it very hard to meet our towards values, all right? And a lot of us make it very easy to achieve our away values. So we make it very hard for us to feel successful. In my case, made it very easy for me to feel overwhelmed and stagnation. And so we really want to change that. So if your top priority is to optimize, to succeed, to make progress, we want to make you feel like you're always succeeding, that you're always, enjoying the present, being grateful of the present. So I'll give you an example. My old success values, and then a lot of for people, like, they have very different rules, but it's very similar. I want to be successful if I finish fellowship, if I had gotten into NASA, becoming the flight surgeon. I'll feel successful if I have this, like, this income and this net worth, and then my family's healthy and my family's, I'm happy, then I will be successful then. So it's and for us to feel good, or for us to feel like maybe in flow, to feel love. This has to happen. And the very common thing in our rules, that to meet our toward values, we say we have to do this and this and this and this has to happen. And it's also dependent on other people. Like my kid needs to be happy with minimal outbursts. I need my husband or my wife to be happy with me most of the time. And if she or he ever like lashes out, or if our child ever lashes out, then it makes me feel guilty. So you want to be very careful in the rules, where the rules are dependent on what other people do or how other people feel. You want to change it to where it's dependent on you only. All right. For me, in order to ascend from a time creator up to a time liberator, so that is no pressure to optimize anymore. You know, everything that you're doing is aligned with your purpose, your values, and that you're present, you feel peace, you feel calm, you're in the parasympathetic, the rest of digest mode. I actually had to take success completely away from my towards values. And the reason I did that is because in my core, I know that no matter what I do, I will be successful, whether in all aspects of life, of my kids, my husband, my work. I know that because that's intrinsically what I do in my core. I have an intrinsic motivation to do well. Now, I put at the top of my towards value, it's health and vitality, because if I have the energy, then everything else will come. But if I don't have my health and my energy, nothing else matters, actually. So when I was, recovering postpartum, or perhaps like at the late stage of my pregnancy, like, just even getting up from the floor was difficult, moving around, being able to run was difficult. That time I would give anything, and I couldn't weight lift because of the short cervix and it had a cerclage. And at that time I would really give anything to be able to go back and just lift my bar, just lift anything. Nothing else really mattered, right? So now my top one has gone up to health and vitality. My number two towards value instead of success is actually magic. And the reason is because if I can feel the magic and see the magic in myself, to see the magic around me and in other people, then I wouldn't see any gaps, right? I'll see what's been done. I'll see the positive. I'll see not the lack. And I won't feel that sense of stagnation. And instead, I'll feel progress. I'll feel gratitude. And I will be more playful, right? Spontaneous, playful. Just feel the magic around me. There's so much, right? And then number three for me is actually femininity in myself. And that's not about the looks so much. You can dress feminine, but still have a very masculine energy, which where I am transitioning, I think, or it used to be. But now as a to be more feminine in terms of how I am with my children, with my husband, and then with also just, people who that I collaborate with, the professional lives, letting things come to me and respond versus chasing, right? And then really trusting your intuition, your gut, knowing like, I know this is not right for me, so I'm going to say no. Everything again in the time liberator, everything is a hell no. Well, it's a no unless it's a hell yes. So that's an example of the towards value, and I make it very easy to meet it. I just have to, anytime I serve anything that's doing my longevity, like working out, anytime I'm breathing, anything I'm stretching, anytime I go to maybe chiropractor, massage, float tank, anytime I do any sort of lab work or progress on health, movement, longevity, then I'm meeting my towards value. And magic is any form of playfulness. Anytime I notice any magic anywhere around me or maybe in myself, then I'm meeting it. Anytime for femininity, it's anytime you want to use the word, anytime I do this and make it very easy for you to feel it every day. Anytime I can be soft, be very watery, anytime I dance or move, do a chest or body roll, that anything I wear that expresses femininity, that I'm meeting it. Okay, so think about now what you want as the top of your towards values and how do you want to meet that? What rules or beliefs can you change in order to meet that? I had a client that initially, in order to feel hopeful, he was saying that he has to, build this business so that, and then also start making money from that business for him to start feeling hopeful. And that's going to take a few months to do that micro chunk of a business. That's going to take a few months to do for him to feel hopeful. And we got to change it to something where every time I wake up, when I see the sunlight shining, every time I walk on the streets, then I'm feeling hopeful because it is, working in medicine, life and death. It's just like that. I was talking to a patient one day, 5 minutes later, his heart stopped, had a cardiac arrest, coded him for 30 minutes, and he was dead. That's it. And yesterday, he was baking cookies for his grandkids. And so I'm surrounded by life and death all the time. And now it's really getting to me where I really truly notice how important it is to live your life without any regrets because you just cannot predict life. There's another 19-year-old who came to the ER and she was paraplegic. Her both legs are paralyzed. Her arms were very weak and she was only 19 from a car accident. So there's just no point in waiting, right? No point in waiting to decide how you want to spend your time. And there's no point in spending your time in living in these pervasive negative emotions. For example, for overwhelm, I changed it to, it used to be very easy. Anytime I saw a gap, anything that's left undone. But I changed it to, I will only indulge in the illusion of overwhelm only if I were to consistently think that the open loops, the left unclosed, is bad. Instead of seeing them, this is like the solution to it, right? Instead of seeing them as an abundance of opportunities. And I actually have complete control of when I want to say yes or no, not right now, right? Based on if I feel like this is aligned with me, based on my gut and based on my actual critical assessment. So only if I consistently think that I have no control and if I consistently think that this is bad. But, I really want to avoid doing that. And I want to really think about you give yourself the solution instead of thinking that these are all opportunities. View them as amazing opportunities. And any gaps, see the magic in it. Okay. Instead of just seeing what's left undone, you're seeing the magic in other people. Stagnation. For me, number 2 was stagnation. So I will only experience stagnation only if I were to get consistent belief in the illusion that I'm not making any progress in the business, household, health, instead of celebrating any micro progress with or being grateful for everything I've ever achieved in my life. Okay. And I'll just share one more with you in terms of feeling not enough. Because a lot of times when I experience overwhelm, stagnation, then it leads to feeling not enough. Right? Why can't I get this done? I will experience, I will only experience the feeling not enough if I haven't made if I consistently have not made any progress with any clients, and to feel that people actually care enough to judge you, because most people actually don't care enough to judge you or even think about you. It's all in our head. Um, and if I feel like, if I only consistently believe in the illusion that task completion is a measurement of self worth, and I know that instead of feeling like all the failures or really all the gaps are lessons, they're not mistakes, right? They're all more challenges or lessons, or you can say that they're medicines to help you grow. So now I hope that, I know that was a lot and it goes very deep. That was like a 7-day with destiny, all chunked down to like 20 minutes or so. I would say just think about what is the most consistent, say, primary question that you ask, or towards value, the top value that's super important to you, that it no matter what, it is so important to you, like that's pervasive through your life, that you're always asking, that it's almost like you wouldn't know how to live, right? If that wasn't your goal, you wouldn't know how to be if you weren't always asking. For me, in my case, how can I succeed, or how can I make this better? And so success was super important to me. And think about how easy, if you can create a value, that is going to really be very important in terms of how you want to live your life, whether that's love, connection, flow, playfulness, happiness, presence, etc., courage. So, and make it very easy for you to feel that anytime you think about the negative emotion, again, rejection, rage, loneliness, feeling let down, unloved, feeling not enough, etc., make it very, very hard. Only if you consistently do blank instead of blank the solution to this. Okay. Of course, if you guys have any questions, you can contact me, productivitymd.com, or email me as well on tsungannmd@gmail.com. The show notes is going to be a productivity MD. And just know that no matter what happens where you are in this life, that you probably have a lot going for you. You are alive, and that's something to celebrate. There's no need really to everything, like in terms of optimization, in terms of like wanting to succeed and progress faster. Those are just bonuses, right? It's important to actually enjoy the breath that you have now, the life that you have now, the ability for you to even listen to this, to be able to think about this, because there are so many people in the world that they don't actually have the luxury to even think about this. So again, that everything we need is within us now. And I want to thank you for your kind presence and attention.
Disclaimer: this content is for general information purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine. No doctor patient relationship is formed. The use of this information linked to this content is at the user's own risk. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical conditions they may have, and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions. The views are personal views only and do not represent any university or government institution.